Too Much Dip Podcast. It's Monday. My name is David, and a fun fact about me, I'm a big fan of Eisenhower's on Rainy Street, and we're going to break the news. It's going away. We are breaking the news. You're all right,
We
dude.
have some history
There's other
there.
bars.
We have some
Dylan,
history at that bar, man.
There's
Good
some
spot.
other bars. That's the first bar I beat the
fun.
shit out of you at. Remember that?
Well, you beat the shit out of me there. We did Touching Base episode number 100 at that bar live in front of an audience, which was a great time. We've had at least one meetup there. I think 2 meetups there, actually.
Yeah.
It's like our spot, man. It's sad. Shouts to our buddy Mike.
I will remember you. That's
I
the
got
song.
disappointed at a chicken and waffles brunch at Eisenhower's once, but I was happy because they had like some chicken express tenders or some shit. But you know, not to be cliche, everything else real good.
I do love Chicken Express. Can't really find it down around Travis County way, but Chicken Express may have goated tenders.
They are good.
You've had them?
Fuck yeah, I've had
I-
them. There's one in Lakeway, still there.
All right.
And I used to live out that way.
You get the seasoning, the serendipity, just sprinkle it on there. You know what I'm talking. KJ knows what's on.
Serendip.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember that.
You're tying it in with the show name.
I don't think I did that. That's right.
Well, there's Dylan.
Yeah. Hey, man. No, I'm happy to be here. It's going to be a good episode. We got lots to talk about. Beautiful day in Austin, Texas. Started off very cloudy and drizzly.
It rained. Straight up rained.
It did rain.
It was
Now
damp.
it's like class outside day now. You know what I mean? Remember those days?
Yeah, I regret this, but college, like senior year, I was in my second year of Italian, and one day the professor was like, "Let's do class outside," and I remember doing it, and it was in the middle of the quad at Texas State, and I remember just like people walking by, and I was kind of embarrassed.
You're in class.
I know, and I still was
Look at this
fucking.
dork.
I was like too cool for school, and I was like, "Oh, dude, what if my fucking bros walk by?"
When some baddie walks by and sees me learning Italian out here outside,
It's
like an idiot.
It's so I could have just enjoyed it, and honestly, like looking back, I should have like been champing at the bit to like loudly speak Italian and have some baddie like you mentioned walk by and see me like, "Ooh, what's he doing? This guy's worldly." Ciao, Bella. Randy's here producing.
Hi, Dave.
You all right?
That's,
You-
I don't
is-
got much.
Is it finally sinking in?
Well,
The big
that-
weekend?
Yeah, the Ren Fair's over and all that. It's been sinking in all day. It also sinks in that the Bears and Purdue football are just still continue to be
Ooh.
terrible.
Tough one for the Bears.
The
man.
Bears.
Yeah,
tough
don't
one.
slide the Purdue in next to the Bears. That is 2 totally different types of heartache.
I would. Well, I mean, sure.
God damn, dude. I was watching that game, fantasy implications. I was like, holy shit, the Bears are gonna do it. They're actually gonna oh God. And it's gone.
The Bears still suck.
It's a tough time to be a Chicago Bears fan.
KJ.
Hello, gentlemen. Great to be here with you. Being that I'm not physically there in the office, which sometimes, it's good to get shit done. Other times I lament. Now is kind of a borderline time. I'd like to ask you both an honest question. I know he's staring you in the face right now. I think the people can assume what the vibe is, or Randy's aura is, if you will. What's that thing smell like right now? This whole weekend out in the woods,
His hang
covered
down?
in mead and everything else.
I showered.
What
KJ.
kind of funk's Randy?
What does your
bring?
hang down
showered.
smell like?
I think you're just asking, what do I smell like?
Did you
Like
get some
my
Ren
hang
Fair
down.
stank on it?
I
It
have
does seem
showered like
smelly.
3 times since the Ren Fair, KJ.
You hit that turkey leg?
I did hit that turkey leg.
I bet you did.
Bitch, I'm wild. Do the turkey leg. Do the turkey leg. What you know?
How was that miss? That was an easy. Like Weird Al could have easily slid that into the fucking upper deck.
Arlington's own GS boys.
Exactly. Maybe it's just not. Maybe it wasn't on Weird Al's radar.
Stanky Leg went national. Somehow.
I feel like it.
Oh yeah, everyone knows the stanky leg.
You know the Stanky Leg?
Oh yeah.
Do it. Give us a little taste.
You know,
Come around here.
hold on. Here, I'll just
Show us
I'll
the
just-
stanky leg.
Yeah, you guys can't see it, but I'm doing it.
Okay, he did it sitting down in his chair.
I mean, you get the implication. Last thing on my list, as I continue to treat this like my weekly therapy, I don't know what it says about me, and I feel like every time I say I don't mean this in H way, it's immediately assumed to be H. But while sticking on the DFW rap trend, I've had a recurring dream of late. One part of it, not so surprising, Casey Musgraves present. The other is noted Dallas rapper Big X the Plug.
Yeah.
And then I wake up and I'm constantly like, I don't know the context of this collab, but I don't think either would be good. And I'm not sure which one I'd be more jealous of. But yeah, they're just generally both there. Not really doing anything, but I don't know why. I just continue to have this thought, and I'm just like, man, is this some sort of like self-imagery I'm portraying?
You missed your calling as a rap artist.
Are you calling for the collab, or was there a collab?
No, I'm dreaming of it unintentionally, and I don't know what it says about me, and I don't know, like, I don't want it to happen musically or any other way. But I'd kind of
other
be
way?
here for it.
He did preface this whole thing by saying not to be H, so I can't be that way at all.
I
For
don't
sure.
think it is, but I'm sure somebody out there will be like, oh, yeah, the root of this is,
Well, let me say this. I don't like that in your wildest fantasies, it's not even you with Casey, it's Big X the Plug. It's
I'm
another
honest.
man.
I'm honest.
I mean,
Not a
that's-
visually appealing one. For those at home who probably don't know what Big X the Plug sounds like, just think of the name. You're probably right.
he is a man who,
He's a man of size.
yeah, you know what's funny? You know what meme, or I guess GIF of him goes around pretty much every week. It's him shirtless at DKR running routes with his shirt off.
No, he has a jersey on.
Or no, is he? Okay.
Yeah, he's got a Texas jersey on, and he
looks very large, as he is.
he's running like
biggest,
a
largest.
slant off the line, and not super athletic
It's not a good route.
as he is a man of size.
No.
Receiver wouldn't be his position if he were to play football. I'm pretty confident in saying that.
Without question.
Yeah. And
Nose tackle maybe.
and you see it, I don't know, usually you see it sometimes when like big man touchdown on the goal line or something,
Mhm.
or people will use it to mock so-and-so player. But yeah, it's funny. And I wonder, I'm like, do y'all know who that is? I'm like, I wonder how big. I
Big
know
X.
he plays festivals now, and he's a big draw. So shout out to Big X the Plug. We've been down with him for a couple years. That sounded extremely white.
Well,
We've been down with him.
well, his hit song is about Texas, so it made its way here pretty quickly, I want to say.
That's big facts.
I think his music is real stellar, don't you, David?
Oh yeah, man.
It's a real earworm.
I've been
It's got
bumping.
some bops, if you will.
Straight
How about
up.
that for millennial review?
Yeah.
Anywho, that's all I got.
Straight up skibbity toilet.
Riz.
Ohio.
Yeesh.
Mm.
A little hot in here. Too much for this guy. Dylan's not having fun anymore. You've got his UT hat on. Shout out Howard Brothers.
Fuck yes, that's dope.
Is that the one?
I
I
got
can't
it.
see.
I got my
that
hands
little
on one,
distance, but
KJ.
That's great.
It's
That's phenomenal.
it's treating me quite well. Thank you.
It's Del Pat.
Tell me retail therapy had something to do with that.
Yes, that is accurate. I
Great.
did reach out
That
to
makes me happy.
our good friend Barrett, and he sent me a link that I don't think many knew about.
Little Barrett the Plug is what they're calling him.
Yeah.
That brings me joy. I sent it to the group, but I didn't want the implication to be like, Dylan, you need to hit up such and such. Like I was hoping that would have already been done, but it was a fire promotion that
Yeah.
UT and Howler Brothers put out.
Of course, they put out the promotion when they were pretty much sold out of everything. So
Who would ever do that?
a lot of really confused people saw that and were directed to absolutely nowhere to purchase, which was cool.
100% of the comments.
Yes.
We got a big show today. If you haven't given us a review or properly rated the show, go do so. Also, go sub our YouTube, youtube.com/toomuchdip. If you want to watch the show, go watch it there. I think it's more of a visual show. I think podcasts are best consumed like that, especially the ones in the Washed Media Network. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree, Dave. Yeah.
I'm going to give a big shout out to our good friends at Roback. You can use a code WASHED20, WASHED20. It's a one-time use code. You can load that card up and get 20% off. What can I put in that? I'm new here. What's going in the cart? Oh, I don't know. Hats.
If I were
polos,
you, I would probably
workout.
throw a hoodie in there. They have great hoodies. Maybe some joggers. And of course, you could choose one of, 350 polos they have available currently on the site.
Also officially licensed game day stuff.
Officially licensed game day stuff. That is also true.
Very dope. You're
So-
rocking one. You're rocking a polo right
I
now.
have just a classic black polo on, man.
Hell yeah.
Fucking looks dope as shit on me. Everyone's been saying.
Yeah.
Washed 20 will get you 20% off.
That's a dope as shit polo there.
Thank you.
Dylan.
Thank you, man.
That's
You're like
interesting.
the
Hold on. Who's
seventh person to tell me that today.
who's here? What character is this?
Oh, this is just a big fan of Big X the Plug guy.
Okay.
I was gonna say, like, Randy didn't feel like he had to stretch to get to this persona.
No, it's really just not that far of a deviation.
It's like guy from Northwest Indiana is here with you today.
I saw him at Lollapalooza. Puts on a really good show.
Yeah,
It was really
me-
fun.
Me and the missus were heading over to Lowe's, and he just came on the radio. And wow, what a bop!
What station were you listening to?
We're listening to
Second Mia
92.3 Power the Beat. That's the Chicago one.
Okay. It's good.
Sick.
Good, Randy.
Anyways.
Did anybody watch any of the fisticuffs over the weekend? This is the official, unofficial Combat Sports Minute.
Just caught the last round of the Paul Tyson fiasco. Just absolute mockery of the sport.
The sweet science, not so sweet, huh?
I'm not a huge boxing guy. Dave is, so I had a question for him this morning. As more of like an actual boxing fan, what does an exhibition like this do for you? Because if it were me, like I'm annoyed by it as a very casual observer of the sport, but it just seemed like an absolute, like I said, mockery of the sport of boxing. Because you got these guys, one of them is a social media star. The other one is an old man who used to be very, very good, obviously. And then you have these huge, I don't know what weight the gloves were, but they were
16 ounce?
very big pillow. They were wearing pillows on their fists. And it was just a joke, man. I don't know. It didn't do anything for me.
14 ounce, excuse me.
If I were
16 would be.
if I were a boxing purist, I think I would be disgusted by this.
Yeah.
Just a money grab.
It is combat sports are no stranger to novelty fights. This stuff happens from time to time. It's a relatively new phenomenon that you get legends of the sport, which Mike is fighting. Jake Paul's he's completely unique. He is a very, very interesting test case. What can a kid do who's somewhat athletic, large, has all the money in the world, all the resources in the world, has nothing but time to train, learn the sport, eat right, work out, and he's very, very good at promotion, self-promotion, and talking shit. Can that person go become a competitive boxer? He probably boxes better than, I don't know, 95% of the population of the world. However, the one time he's actually faced a legit boxer was Tommy Fury,
Right.
half-brother of Tyson Fury, and he lost. Now, he didn't embarrass himself, but
Right.
Tommy Fury's not like an exceptional boxer.
So
Tommy Fury's borderline a novelty as well.
He pretty much gets to handpick his opponent because there's so much money involved for that opponent. He's like,
Absolutely.
he reaches out to insert washed up MMA fighter who probably wasn't a striker, more of a ground guy,
Ben Askren.
mat guy. And it's like, hey, do you want to fight me for, $20 million? Like, yeah, absolutely.
More money than you made in the UFC ever.
And
Combined, probably.
He very methodically chooses these people who were probably a name at some point or are better suited for MMA. And he fights him knowing that he's probably going to win because this is not their sport or they're washed up. Mike Tyson, who's 58 years old.
Also, as we found out, almost died a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Like,
so if
Well,
okay,
go ahead.
the
I'm
Tommy Fury thing, if you were to like actually fight real boxers, Tommy Fury, like you said, is a real boxer, but he's not one of the elite ones.
no,
He would just get his fucking clock cleaned.
that's yeah. He has power. He has like
He does.
that is his thing. He has power. But Mike, it was sad, and I was like, everybody said, okay, well, 2-minute rounds. That works in Mike's favor because a 2-minute round as opposed to a 3 is better
Yep.
for a 58-year-old for obvious reasons. But realistically, if Mike's going to knock him out, which is the only way he was ever going to win that fight, he's got to do it in the first 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, because he's going to get gassed.
And so you asked me a question like, what do I think about this? It's not only that it's like a shitty fight, it's also that the production, the event itself was shitty.
Yeah.
Netflix absolutely botched it.
Mm-hmm.
All anybody was talking about was the buffering and how terrible it was and the production. I didn't get to watch a lot of I didn't get to watch any of the undercard, and there were some legit fights on the undercard, but top to bottom, it seems like a disaster. But at the end of the day, the people who needed to get paid got paid. So, KJ, what were you going to say?
Yeah, as far as the Tyson near death, I think that's worth mentioning, not just that part of the story, but remembering that this was supposed to happen in June or July.
Yeah.
And that's when he got the hernia.
Or
I think
ulcer.
Ulcer. That's what I knew it was something like random, but in the context was significant. Watching a bunch of the undercard, which is about all the patience I had for it before I pivoted to Penguin finale.
Nice.
I was behind. I'm sorry. Whatever. I kept coming back to the thought, not just the Netflix buffering, but the quality of the panel that they had commentating. I understand that there's not a lot to talk about because they don't have the luxury of referencing a bunch of other fights and pulling in clips from other fights. It's not, I don't know what their limitations are at Netflix, but I assume they don't have the relationships with that Showtime might have established as far as being able to pull up all these old clips and compilations and have all that content at the ready. There's a benefit to having a production company around for several years, is that you can put together a lot of B-roll and a lot of filler with a lot of experienced talent. Watching the production part of it, you could tell Jerry World, AT&T Stadium, it was prepared. It looked like a legitimate spectacle. The WWE style walkway, visually it looked good. The nice touch of the custom jerseys in the locker rooms stood out to me. Yeah, I don't know if they showed it for Paul and for Tyson, but the female undercard, they both had custom made jerseys in their green room. I'm oh, that's a nice level of detail. But then on the front entry of the green room area was just literally handwritten with a Sharpie their name and just taped up there.
Yeah,
kind of crooked.
Also. We have, I almost forgot, the curtains were down. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, yeah, I did see
the
that.
curtains at AT&T Stadium.
Wow,
for
they
some of the
exist.
earlier fights. Yeah, you can't have any of those fighters
They do exist.
having sun.
They
in
tore
their
it
eye.
down and rebuilt it. They didn't mention that though.
They did. It was very quick.
But anywho, there just seemed to be an imbalance of some areas were super prepared, i.e. the jerseys, i.e. the walkway and the pyrotechnics and lighting. It looked like there was a lot of thought put into it. But then when it came to the announcers and their ability to navigate the delays and trying to avoid the elephant in the room of they're probably looking at their phones being this is not fucking going well.
Yeah.
Because if you're sitting on the panel, you don't know what the hell people see on Netflix. You'd have no clue. But if you you glance at your phone in between a 2-second break, I bet you know. And I bet that's hard to block out.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was just absolute chaos. And that bled over into their ability to keep all this unnecessary momentum of excitement about this fight that poured in. People were like, I think we'd all tricked ourselves sometime between the canceled and rescheduled fight to now to caring again. Because back in July, I think we were all pretty unified, being like, fuck this, it's going to be dumb. I'll tune in, I guess, but nobody was really that invested. And you come to now when like there's a million sports to watch. Somehow we were all ready to watch. And that was strange to me.
Dylan, I think earlier you asked me if I watched, or Will, maybe it was when we were talking about out there, if I watched it on Netflix, and if so, did I encounter any of the buffering? I just remembered, because I was actually following this at the concert I was at. I did not watch it on Netflix. I watched it on AB's fucking Twitter stream. He was there recording the screen, the stadium screen, and I watched it on that, and it was fine. There was like 4 or 5 million people watching AB's Twitter stream of it.
Interesting.
Before it got pulled down, and I got to see the first 3 or 4 rounds of it, which is hilarious. I just remembered that's why I didn't have any issues with the actual fight. But yeah,
I didn't realize I was like behind, so I was worse off. I was watching it on Netflix, commenting in a group chat about shit that's going on screen with very little context, thinking we're all seeing it, referencing the Sharpie marker on like the handwritten sign, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I like hit the navigation panel and I was like 45 minutes behind. I'm like, I've got no buffering here. Like,
there you go.
Smooth sailing. And then I realized I was so far behind in real time that I just was fine. So then when I caught up later, again, after Penguin, I got the full experience. But still, at that point, ship had kind of sailed.
Yeah. And it's a disservice that we're talking about this and not talking about Johnny Bones Jones, the heavyweight champ.
That's true. Kind of snuck in there, like with very little fanfare.
But that was tight to see. John Jones is John Jones and a lot of issues, but he's my GOAT, man. He's something else, and he's a small leg king.
He is.
He has no calves.
None.
Whatsoever. Which, it's never, you look at it and you're like, can you take leg kicks? Like they look very breakable.
Can he take leg kicks?
Yeah. That is his thing. He is so long for his size. And so his movement is so good that he delivers a lot of the kicks and knees. You don't see that at heavyweight that often. And
6'4", 250.
Yeah. And the kick he delivered to Stipe is it just looked, I don't know how you get up and do an interview after that.
He just absolutely crumpled him.
It's a heel right to the kidney,
right to the organs.
Organs, yeah, side.
Yeah, it was brutal. He just hit the deck, man. He couldn't. He was done.
Yeah. Shout out Stipe got paid doing that too. No shame. No shame to his legacy.
What was the pre-fight like drama being resolved? Because I know in the past they'd fought before.
No.
And it was like, it wasn't that they just talked shit for a long time?
No, they had never fought before. So John went up to heavyweight, beat Cyril Gane, fucking last year. And it was like, okay, he's the heavyweight champ now. And then people were like, we want to see him fight Francis. Well, Francis is doing boxing. He's also at ONE FC now, so that's not going to happen.
Uh-huh.
So they tried to make John and Stipe a while back. I might be screwing up the timeline of this.
Was this pre-John Jones arrest? Like they were talked up and then John Jones got in trouble? Is that why I'm misremembering that they fought before?
No, they basically, this fight got delayed due to injuries. John fucked it. He tore a pec, completely tore a pectoral muscle. And it's been it feels like 2 years in the making, and I could be off on that, but long story short, there's really not an animosity there. I mean, John tried to kind of spark some shit up, but to sell the fight a little bit, but ultimately it was just like the greatest heavyweight of all time versus the greatest overall fighter of all time, John Jones versus Stipe. And Stipe hasn't fought since COVID. So it was like nobody really expected him to go in there and win. If you watched it, he did look a step slow. And he definitely got his ass whipped. But so I don't know what's next for John Jones. He's saying he wants to fight Pereira. That Dana White's saying that's definitely not going to happen due to the size disparity. And we'll see if the Tom Aspinall fight happens. He's the English guy, English heavyweight up and comer. that's wrecking everybody, and he wants to fight John. But who knows? Before we get into college football, I want to get into prize picks. Y'all care if I get into prize picks right quick?
Let's do it, Dave.
Just right quick.
Please do.
You can now win up to 100 times your money on prize picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize picks is the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Prize picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy so that your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your lineup live. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like, Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections for up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. We got a Monday Night Football tonight. We got CeeDee Lamb on one side. You got the return of, I almost said Rico Gathers. How about Nico Collins?
Oh, yes.
Dalton Schultz is maybe was coming to mind there too. Brandon Aubrey, 1.5 field goals made, higher or lower.
That's all they're going to do because Cowboys are not moving the ball in Houston. So you will see some deep field goals from old Brandon Aubrey.
He's legitimately fun to watch.
Tonight we might see the 70-yarder. How about that?
Why the fuck not? Just
Let's
try
fucking
it.
do bits tonight. Who cares?
Exactly.
Maybe just take all the unders, attempts, yards, touchdowns for Cooper Rush.
It's not a bad plan. Download the app today. Use code DIP, D-I-P, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code DIP to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
College football time.
You want to start hot seat? You want to start red ass of the week?
Is this not the same person?
That's what I was going to say. Somebody put red ass of the weekend, and I'm like, this has got to be the same guy.
It's got to be Brian Kelly, no? Is it not,
You would
KJ?
think so. You would think so. Let's do hot seat first. And can I just hijack really quick and say the other people who are already fired? Because we don't really even need to dwell on any of those talks, with the exception of one is kind of notable.
Oh,
Tom Herman?
the Herminator.
Tom Herman,
He gone.
former Drew Lock mocking celebrator, former Locker non-demolisher. The fall from grace has continued as he has been fired from FAU.
I forgot who did FAU play last week? They won a close one. Well-
USF, and then he got into it with USF's coach.
Stan Drayton, who is also a former Texas assistant, was fired after that game, and they barely beat FAU, if I recall. And then this week,
in overtime, yeah.
This week, Tom Herman loses, and then he gets fired. So 2 former Texas coaches getting fired in consecutive weeks.
Yeah, I don't really have much to offer on Tom, other than that he has not looked. His time here is not looked upon super
Man.
fondly. Where did he peak? Sugar Bowl?
Leaving, yeah,
Houston
beating Georgia in the Sugar
recruiting
Bowl.
Ed.
But when he
whatever
was-
at Houston,
When he was at Houston, he was like the name. Like that was the guy. LSU was trying to hire him, and then of course he landed at Texas, and it was like, oh, this is going to be a big get. This guy's going to recruit his ass off, and man, he just had a tough run.
He did recruit well.
Ed
If I'm not
Oliver's the name I was going for.
Did he recruited well? It just didn't. It never clicked. If I'm not mistaken.
Recruited well, but like the class. God, what's the guy's name? He's a running back. He plays for the Bears now. From Texas. His recruiting class was like a top 3 in the country. But by the time that dude was like a junior, I think he was one of 2 guys from his class left at Texas. So when Sark took over, you look at recruiting rankings, it's like, oh yeah, you should have a lot of talent to work with. But a lot of the guys had left the program or just flat out didn't pan out. And so, yeah, he could recruit, but development was a big issue for him. Big issue.
Rojo.
Yes, Rojon Johnson. Thank you.
Ah, yeah. Okay. So who? So hot seat, the real hot seat.
Yeah. Real hot seat. Those firings don't matter. I only thought it's funny that everybody that's been fired, like coached at a school where Owls were the mascot, Temple, FAU, Rice, and then whatever school that was that played all of the Owls within 1 year. I don't know if it's Missouri or somebody. Like, it's kind of funny looking back on that. Anywho, Kennesaw State's the other one. Brian Kelly.
Took one on the chin from the Florida Gators over the weekend.
Not a good game.
Not a good. They looked like shit.
I hate that for my 6th favorite team, y'all.
Florida got Florida got their quarterback back, true freshman DJ Lagway, who's going to be a problem over the next couple 2-3 years. And he just one of those guys that just kind of makes everyone play a little bit better. I think when he's out there, he's really, really good. He's got a big arm, great deep ball. And yeah, man, Brian Kelly, that's 3 in a row.
Yeah, and combined with the Chris Hilton situation, the wide receiver, the lip readers are out. One guy caused, like, I mean, obviously, like, Brian Kelly was already, like, not well liked there, but people are like, wait, he's absolutely dressing down this kid on the sideline.
Yeah, I know that there's so much that goes into like choosing the university you go to and who you play for and all that. And obviously LSU is a huge draw just on its own merit. But man, I can't imagine wanting to play for this guy. I just can't imagine it. He's just such a red ass. He's a red ass. That's what he is.
It's baffling because, like, the guy's got a track record of success. What, at Cincy, Notre Dame, LSU to a certain degree, and by all accord, like, is a legitimate coach.
Sure.
Like, I don't think any of us are here to question, like, could he coach a team to be better than, like, the person next to him, like him or Les Miles? Probably, I would take him between the two. Him or Ed Orgeron from, like, would I want this person to lead my program from a full holistic professionalism standpoint? Like, I still would probably take Brian Kelly amongst those three. So I get it. But it's just the most nonsensical marriage, if you will, between personalities. Not just him being a hothead, red ass, whatever you want to call it, but nothing about this guy who's like, I don't know. Notre Dame is like the ideal fit for this person. I don't know how he went to LSU or how he's at LSU and like that was accepted. It screams, and this is a stupid niche reference, but it comes up every time I hear or see Brian Kelly, noted former presidential candidate of years past, saying, I don't feel no ways tired in a Southern accent. Like, I feel like that's Brian Kelly. He's always feigning and like pretending to be the culture that is Louisiana. Ed Orgeron had that down to a T. He was just missing some other parts.
National champion, though.
Not missing T. I'll tell you that.
But there's got to be a balance. There's got to be a balance between being likable, maybe too likable.
Just seems like a terrible cultural fit. He really does.
It's just weird, man.
And if you're winning, no one gives a shit, right? It's like whatever. He's a good coach for winning, but when you lose 3, they have 4 losses.
They're 4 losses.
They have 3 in a row, 4 losses. The shine starts to wear off real fast when you have the personality that Brian Kelly has.
And I know it's a little bit different, but like if you're in the SEC and you can be a 3-loss team and you're probably making the playoff. Like, I know like some variables, but a 3-loss SEC team is very likely going to make the playoff, right? So it's just,
I don't think so.
You don't think?
No.
Yes, they will.
I don't think so.
We'll get there. It's fucking travesty.
I don't think his seat is actually hot. His buyout is something that's just really insane. Plus, he really hadn't been there that long, right? What is this? His 2nd or 3rd season at LSU, something like that.
I think that would be pretty insane if they got rid of him after this year. Even if they
no, that's not. It's not happening.
No,
but
I think this is a very fair like buyout, whatever, not buyout watch, like Cabeza watch for sure. Whatever they want to say, water's getting warm, seats getting warm, whatever. Like, this is, if you see this again a year from now, the voices are going to be very loud, regardless of money. And we saw it with Jimbo at A&M. I was like, numbers are too big. But you get another year into this.
And this is his 3rd year at LSU. Okay.
Yeah, so let's pivot to my red ass of the week. I don't want to. I'll start driving myself insane if I start taking apart an SEC schedule. I feel like that's all I do from like midnight Saturday until the AP poll rankings are released, and I'm just like, this is bullshit. I need to get over it. Georgia, big win, big win by the Bulldogs. Not fully dismantling, but controlling a full game. Taking advantage of a less experienced quarterback and a team that just wasn't quite as deep and as ready to execute on the big stage in Tennessee. They were in Georgia, but referring to Tennessee. Fucking Kirby Smart is skyrocketing up my list of people that I absolutely cannot stand. And again, I should understand it's his job to like fully embody and personify chip on the shoulder. But not only was he pulling some Brian Kelly-esque like dress down conversations when they were in control of winning again, like I caught this in the Kentucky game back whenever, when it was really close, but happened again. I'm like, this is just who he is. But after the game, Carson Beck was like, we knew our backs were against the wall. There was little doubt and little support for how much we were, that people thought we could win this game and what success we'd have. So it's like, you fucking idiot.
Well, maybe.
And then Kirby Smart like took issue with the CFP saying like, they're not here to see these games. They don't know anything about us or they don't support our program and they're not here to support us.
He's been using this script for a long time. What is it? They won the national championship a few years ago, and after the game, and it was not just one player, like on field interview after the game. They were like, "Yeah, no one thought we would be here. Like you went wire to wire number one. Like we all thought you would be here. Like literally all of us. But he has all of his players just buying into this bullshit that everyone doubts them at all times. Like you're Georgia, you're like the most successful program over the last 10 years, like you in Alabama, like, dude, you're good. We all know that.
That's part of the genius of Kirby Smart. Because that's the attitude you have to live with. That's why a lot of very, very talented teams don't end up doing it. Because they eat the cheese, KJ. A wise man once said. I will say Carson Beck's back he can say it and it's like, oh yeah, that is true. People have been shitting on you pretty consistently,
yes, 1,000%.
the last 6 weeks. But yeah, shout out to them.
Meanwhile, the entire, and I won't go down the road of SMU on this week, like it's not relevant.
Do it.
But the entire SMU game from like kickoff to like the fourth quarter, and to highlight how important this game is for SMU, with a win, they'll have a 60% chance of advancing to the CFP playoff or whatever it was. Some absurd number that, again, I still don't fully accept to be true, given like where we were months ago. And they're like, with a loss, they'll be at 20%. And then they juxtapose that, if you will, with Georgia. And they're like, if Georgia loses today, they'll have a 60% chance to be in the CFP. And I'm like, why are you calling this out so publicly right now? Like, it's your network that's doing this. It's like, well, that's what the All-State predictor says. If Georgia loses today, who fucking cares? Like, then why are they playing? Like, Georgia, like SEC at some point should just be like, we're going to play 10 games. Because we get 2 freebies anyway. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's fair. I didn't get to watch any of SMU. I don't know how much they were talking about, but I BC, like I was kind of high because like week 1, week 2, I was like, Bill O'Brien, kind of found a spot. I know they're not competing in that conference, but do they look better? I mean, like
their line is good. They've got a line that has played the entire season together, every game, and they're all seniors. So like they're going to be rough in that area next year without transfers. But like they're a team that's being coached by a very competent, successful head coach. Another one who I wouldn't want to play for, by the way.
Are you bummed about a 10-point dub?
SMU struggled for the first time against the run, so that was concerning. But they had been suspect a little bit against the pass pretty much all year. They were without their top edge rusher. who I think is going to be like a top 2, 3, maybe 4 round pick. So there were reasons why they struggled, but at no point in time was it like, oh, we're going to F this up. So like it was what it was, but when you would hope for like a 20, 30 point win. So I don't know, maybe we move up to 12th instead of 13th, whatever the fuck we landed at, that it would be there to support us. But like with Tennessee losing, it was very clear they're going to be like, well, this gives us, and BYU losing, a great opportunity to be like, well, shit, how many more teams can we push up into the top 10 from the SEC?
Real quick, gotta gas up Colorado again.
Yeah.
Made that
I feel like
Utah.
we owe it at this point.
I mean, yeah, the Utah defense is no joke, and it just was not a problem. So you're going to very likely have Colorado BYU. I got to look at the standings, even though BYU just lost.
Yeah,
but
just
it's
one.
Colorado BYU. I don't think unless something really weird happens.
Arizona State BYU play, and that is who's
Ooh.
next in line. So that's a big one coming up. If BYU's really been a fraud all year, like Arizona State's sneakily been consistent. They have a good run game.
Who's our guy? Who's the white dude?
Scataboo.
Scataboo.
Who Texas State shocked. Texas State had a very winnable game. That's kind of, I'm not trying to make this about Texas State, but Texas State very early in the season like played Arizona State to the wire, and like that's looking like a very, very good loss. Now, what's not a good loss is getting blowing that game against Sam Houston. No offense to the Lumberjacks or whatever Sam Houston is. Bearcats. Sorry,
they've been good. They're like
they are good.
10-0 or whatever the hell. Again, still Sam Houston still.
I took that in a weird direction, and I apologize. But
Travis Hunter.
Yes. Is that the guy?
I don't know. Dylan, how do you feel about this? Knowing, I think it's pretty clear, not to isolate you, but like you've been very vocal, mostly about Prime, but about the team in general. I think I've been very temperate on Prime, but also like scared to be too negative on the team. I don't know.
Yeah, I was obviously very down on Colorado and Dion before the season. The offensive line last season was so bad that my thinking was, all right, I know they have a legit quarterback in Travis Hunter, who's the best player in college football, in my opinion, but you need a complete overhaul of so many pieces of that team to turn it around the way they have it. I didn't think it was doable. And they're good. I mean, they're like actually a pretty good football team. So I'm very surprised it happened. And I hate to give credit to Coach Prime, but he's doing the damn thing. It's impressive, the turnaround they've had in one season. And Travis Hunter is just so fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's a freak of nature.
It's funny because so we're at the point now, okay, so Colorado wins, and they're like the people that really like Prime will be like, where are the haters at now? Blah, blah, blah. Joe Cladd, RG3. I feel like we do a pretty good job of like calling out coaches who do asshole things. We think we just did it to Brian Kelly for a while. And like, it's not that I feel like for us, it's not really that we like have some grudge against Colorado. We want to see them lose. It's just that like he does early in the season, before the season even. It's like there's a lot of things. It's like, oh yeah, that's kind of an asshole move. What you said, you sounded like a dick there. So we're gonna call you out for it. Now
everything outside the lines is fully the problem.
Yeah. That being said, it's honestly great for the Big 12 to have like a very prominent program, very prominent characters, and if that could be the team that represents you in the playoff or whatever, like okay, that's best case scenario. Because if not them, like who are the marquee teams in the Big 12? Like right now at this moment that like
since BYU lost, they've fallen out. It's Colorado.
The personalities and players too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it's Colorado.
Household names.
What's the top player in the conference? Like outside of Colorado, who would you go to?
Sawyer Robertson, quarterback Baylor, number 6 in QBR in the country.
God, I don't know.
Jalen Daniels, maybe.
I mean, they have the two best
4
players.
and 6 Kansas team.
The two best players in the conference are on the Colorado offense. And one of them's also on defense.
It should have been Ollie Gordon. Ollie
I
Gordon
was about to say, isn't it
disappeared.
stupid that we were not saying anything about the 3-7 running back, Holly Gordon, who could have been a Heisman favorite?
They haven't won a game in conference yet.
No,
They've completely fallen off.
it's insane. And
Yeah.
I have not watched enough of them outside of watch them beat Arkansas in a game that they had handed to them, and then also lose to Baylor. And I was just like, this team is not good. And Ollie Gordon's like, I don't know how much of it is him or what. I feel like you don't fall off that much from your junior to senior year as a running back, and he hasn't been hurt to my knowledge. But that's weird. But yeah, to our point, Colorado, like, they've got the Sanders brand for better or for worse, and like, oh yeah, there you go. There's your Big 12. That's a team that's people are tuning in for in the Big 12. I should
We'll
say.
see how he does prime that is in the post Shador, post Travis Hunter era of his coaching, because we haven't seen that yet. I don't know what Colorado looks like moving forward, but he's recruiting well too. So we'll see what happens. I have a
when
crazy.
he's coaching Travis Hunter and Trevor Lawrence, it's going to be an interesting dynamic.
Okay.
Really interesting dynamic.
You don't want that, KJ.
One quick add to this really quick, since we're talking about Big 12. One of my favorite parts about college football is when you get like the commercials for the colleges, like mixed in the production. Like I always kind of appreciate those. One thing I don't love is the conference commercials that you get, and I'll find it, but Big 12 has a commercial out right now where you get kind of like silhouettes of like players in uniforms of different sports going on. And then there's a silhouette of someone with a thick gold chain and big glasses, like implying that like a part of the conference and the conference brand is Prime.
Dave
Like,
Aranda.
again, it's not him, and it may have been exactly. And I'm like, it may be him, but they just kind of keep cutting, and I only saw it for a brief moment. But I'm like, that says all you need to know. When those conference commercials come up, like they're trying to tell you, our conference is the strength of all of these great schools. And when they start introducing other sports, like you can do a lot of things in the Big 12, talking about basketball, track and field, whatever, and warranting a full shot in a production assistant's time to go get a fake gold chain and shoot this shot is Prime. Like tells you all they need to know. They're happy with how this is shaking out.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'll quickly stay on air here that should SMU not make the playoff, which I don't think it's deserved. Who knows? Whatever. Don't care. I would be all for an SMU Colorado bowl game. Like that's one of the few bowl games non-playoff related that like it won't matter because Travis and Shooter won't probably play, but I would be entertained by that matchup.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even think about them definitely not playing outside of a playoff game.
Yeah, again, it would matter, but I would be, hell, give me the playoff game. Even better. I could root for both.
That's huge. Emotional hedge.
Fuck.
This is lining up pretty dope for KJ. No, I did mention Sawyer Robertson. I just want to gas up Dave Aranda and Baylor because they've won 4 in a row now. And now they're gonna he's saved his job. They extended him. Going to a bowl. And Sawyer Robertson, dude, I know I'm doing the thing where I latch onto a player because of some weird connection, but dude, he is balling. He is, and Baylor looks good. Bryson Washington, the true freshman, or is he a red? Whatever. He is he's a dog. 4 touchdowns. Watch out, Baylor next year. If Aranda can figure out a way to not be the most boring coach coming out of the gate, that should be a really good team. But they've got something really good there. So shout out to them. Also shout out to the Bobcats. Disappointing season a little bit, but we're going back to a bowl.
Shout out to the Bobcats.
Let's go.
I got a wild stat for you guys. You ready?
Please.
Before this last weekend, there were 2 teams in all of college football. So FBS plus FCS, that is 263 teams. There were 2 teams who had not yet scored over 21 points in a game.
Oh, God.
One of them was Mississippi Valley State, who beat Florida A&M 24-21. So they eclipsed 21 points for the first time this season. There is now 1 team left in all of college football among 263 teams who has not scored over 21 points in a game. Who is that team?
I cheated.
So scared.
It's Florida State.
Oh, geez.
They're the only one. And this is according to the college football subreddit. So if that information is not correct, blame them. But I think it's accurate.
They fired both of their coordinators. I don't know if that happened after our show last week. Rightfully so. Wisconsin before we move on from college football, I forgot to put this on the rundown. Wisconsin played Oregon at home, which is Camp Randall's a fun environment. I have not been personally. I'll use that as a disclaimer, but like it's as advertised. People are engaged, and jump around's a big deal. Blah blah blah. But like Wisconsin defense came to play. It was a 1 touchdown, 1 possession game. Some bad calls. Watched quite a bit of this one. Dylan Gabriel looked as mid as I kind of feel like I've seen him to be in a lot of moments.
16-13 was the final.
Yeah.
What?
Truthfully, a competent offense wins that game pretty comfortably. Like,
what's wrong with Oregon?
I think Wisconsin just has a better defense than like expected.
Okay.
Luke Fickell's a smart coach. Like, you can give a good coach a game to scheme up correctly, and like matchups will just happen. Maybe Oregon didn't expect much. I don't know. But it was quite a spectacle to like observe. And I kind of was borderline like, do I go downtown? Like, or do I go try to watch a field goal post get put in a lake if this goes down? Like,
yeah, that would have been fun.
I debated for a moment, like if they would have, they
Hell
were
yeah.
knocking on the door of putting together a drive, and like they had the ball with about a minute and a half left, starting their own 10. Incompletion, next play, try to throw a screen, D-tackle, bats it in the air and intercepts it. Like it was the most anticlimactic, like, well, here comes the big drive. Like it was just over immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely whiffed on that game. I honestly did not follow it at all. And I was very shocked. And I was getting this rundown put together. I was like, oh yeah, that was a fucking close ass game. Dylan, to your point, did you say over 21 or just 21?
Over.
Okay. Yeah. Georgia Tech, first game of the season. They scored 21, and that is it. Holy shit.
It's
Florida
just
State.
crazy, man.
Yeah. Florida State. Yeah.
Just an all-time
They've
terrible
got
season.
Charleston Southern and Florida. So
when I
And
watched him
they
at
might
Notre
not
Dame last week,
win either one.
my buddy TC, shouts to TC. I think the over-under was 9, not over-under. Florida State's over and under was 8.5. And he teased it down or took it at 6.5 or whatever,
God.
So the emotional like roller coaster of the entire time, like we knew their field goal kicker's really, really good. And so that's what everybody's going into, like, could they string together 3 field goals? Probably. Like they got in the red zone like 4 or 5 times.
God.
But he took it at 6.5. And being where they were, they didn't give a shit about kicking field goals. And so the entire time it's like, I'm one bad fumble away from losing this fucking over under at 6.5.
They
like,
were-
that's a level of like excitement of watching game I hadn't anticipated. And they delivered. They scored 3.
They were undefeated last season. Has there ever been a turnaround this
No.
dramatic, like season over season?
I mean, the only thing I could think of, there was like sanctions, like SMU.
Right,
No
yeah.
offense, KJ.
Okay.
Death penalty.
Death
Yeah.
penalty. I don't
Like,
know.
they are so bad.
Years
Oh,
later.
2 different DPs here.
It's not like they don't have
Okay.
talent. It's fucking Florida State.
It's wild.
It is wild.
Hey, can we real quick Texas talk? Because I
Yeah.
watched this game as an observer. Like I just want to see my guys ball out. I want to see Colin Simmons ball
Your third
out.
team?
Well, my third and my 7th team. No, I want to see Colin Simmons ball out. He did 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss. He's fucking badass.
He's so good.
And then Jaquindon led them down the field. There you go. Thank you. Looked great. Was playing on a bad ankle and still looked really good. They had a chance. That game was way too close. And my thing, I said something earlier in the year, and I was kind of getting annoyed from some Texas fans, not Dylan, but some, like people are like the way they were clamoring for Arch, just based on the name, and I thought it was really clout chasey and novelty, and I was like, but after watching Quinn for a couple weeks, I think this team would be better off with Arch, and here's why. Yeah, I don't think he is at the level of Quinn at the moment, but Quinn is so gun shy right now, and like he's like afraid to make a mistake, and I don't know if how much of that is like afraid of like affecting his draft stock. Or losing his job because he knows Arch is right there and he knows there's some people. I don't know.
He panics at any sign of pressure or a collapsing pocket. He has no no feel for pressure at all. And
Yeah.
it's become a major problem. He's lost his confidence. Another thing that people are overlooking about the Manning versus Ewers situation is that Manning completely changes the dynamic, like the dynamic of the offense. Quinn Ewers doesn't have anything beyond 20 yards. Like, he just doesn't. He is like masterful in the short and intermediate routes. Like, there might not be anyone better than him at throwing those passes. He doesn't push the ball down the field. And that is an absolute necessity in a Sarkisian offense. Like, that's what he does. And Ewers just doesn't have it. They tried 2 deep balls in this game against Arkansas. One of them, guy was wide open. He overthrew him by like 9 yards. It was really bad.
Yeah.
And so it completely opens up a lot of the playbook that they just aren't going to right now because of it. It's a major problem.
Last thing, if you go to, I'm not saying they should, look, as a program, like as a fan, I'm going to say Arch would be better, blah, blah, blah. And the reason is, yeah, he's probably going to turn the ball over, but your defense is top 3 in the country. And I feel like their defense is good enough to like save Arch.
That
You know what I'm saying?
is another thing that it's frustrating about this season is because this defense is the best defense Texas has had since their championship season. Like, they're the best secondary, in my opinion, in the country. Jahdae Barron, Austin product, by the way.
What a game.
He's probably going to win the Thorpe. He's unbelievable.
That dude.
They're getting after the quarterback. There was one drive in this game, the one where Jaquindon scored, where they just kind of grinded it out, and they were hitting Texas for like 3 to 6 yards on the ground every play. It wasn't like they were getting huge chunk yardage. That was the only drive of the game where Texas didn't look fantastic. Other than that, they absolutely shut Arkansas down. This defense is so good, and I would hate to see a defense this good get wasted because your quarterback has just lost his way, and he clearly, like, he's just not. And it's weird because last week against Florida, he looked unbelievable. He has these games that, like, will bring you back some confidence. Okay, he's figuring it out now. And then one like this where he just looks so lost. It's very, very frustrating.
Yeah. Okay, Jay.
I was not aware that there was a size difference. It's not significant, but Quinn clocking in at like 6'2", 210, 215 until Dylan was saying the deep ball. So I was like, in my head, I hadn't paid that close attention. Kind of assumed they were similar size, or maybe Arch was smaller. I don't know.
Oh,
why.
Arch is a big dude.
Arch is like 6'3", 6'4",
He's
225, 230.
He's big. He's
It's
a big dude.
significant difference.
Yeah.
And isn't he? I know Quinn's mobile in his own accord, but
Arch is fast.
Arch is a slightly better runner. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't.
Oh, he's not slightly. He's a much better
But
runner.
he's not. But I know he's not slow. I guess is really what
No,
I
he
mean.
can
No,
move.
he chops.
He can move.
I'm definitely not the person to ever be like, oh, hey, heard rumblings of this, that, and the other. But when this season's said and done, like, I think it's safe to assume Texas will be in the college football playoff. Like, with 2 weeks left, like, that's almost a foregone conclusion. Like, barring huge losses.
They have to
Which
win.
ain't
I think they have to win out. Their schedule, the strength of schedule is poor enough that they have to win out, I think.
Maybe like
Ooh.
I think from a brand standpoint, like they're like with one loss down the whatever
2 games left.
the last 2 games, I think they'll be fine. They're not in a win out or else not make the playoff situation, in my opinion. But what I'm getting at here is if they make the playoff, nothing changes in terms of their quarterback situation. Let's say for some reason they do not. I don't know what that would, what would happen for that to occur. I think it's about as quick as we hear the announcement that they're not going, that we hear that Quinn's also not going to play in the bowl and departing, and it's going to get lost in the whole seniors not playing or people preparing for bowls not playing. And it does make me think the way this is unfolded, like, how serious was that accidental tweet? Because I don't think it was a complete accident the more that things kind of continue to happen in a neutral manner.
Explain what you're
By all
referencing.
Referencing 247.com or 20, whatever. Accidentally posting to Instagram an announcement that Arch Manning, that Quinn Ewers would not be coming back to the team, would begin his professional football prep
Yeah.
prepping for the league. Draft prep is what I'm getting at there. When he was out injured.
Okay. Yeah, it slipped.
And that
They
was
had a
like
graphic made.
assumed to be like complete bullshit because he was playing so well.
Claimed to be
so
hacked.
early. Like, why would that happen?
Yeah.
And for him to come back with this little confidence, like something just seems off because everything else we hear about the guy, he's got no problem shooting a shot. So
There you go.
you're telling me the confidence is gone? All of that was to get to that point, by the way. I do wonder, like, are we going to look back and be like, that was actually going to happen?
Well, I would say, because my initial thought was like, wait, why would somebody hack the account just to put up this very unfunny, very serious graphic? And then I remembered it's college football. And I'm like, oh, yeah, there's definitely some fucking psycho
Everybody's got time.
that like was like, this will be fun. This will create some noise. So it actually isn't that implausible that somebody would hack this major college football recruiting and account and post that. But it is very odd to even have that graphic. I don't know, but that's an interesting point. Okay. Anything else on that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Little NFL. Just some quick hits. I don't know how much of that Bills Chiefs game you watched, but
Not enough.
your boy was making meatballs. And I had it on the lappy sitting right there. And I'm like, I got the ground beef. I got the pork and I'm making the balls. I got everything in there, you know? And I'm just watching Josh Allen and I'm like, dude, this is a really dumb thought, but I'm like, he has to win this game. I was like, they cannot lose this fucking game. Because if they lose it, they're going to lose it because of the way the way teams always lose it to the Chiefs, right? It's you go down there, you either don't score or you kick a field goal and settle for that. And then Mahomes drives it in 45 seconds. Everybody knows that's what's going to happen, right? And that run was like the highlight of my NFL season because that was so sick. And I was like, holy shit, he's doing this. And also I was like, is he going to fumble? Because he gets a little wild with the ball, how he's holding it. He will take on contact. That was sick. So shout out to them. That was an MVP caliber play. And I'm very, very excited for the Bills.
For him to end that game that way, like it made sense. I don't know what that means, but like he's had an interesting career. Josh Allen, it is like, you know, he's running too much. He's being too reckless. Like, is he going to fumble too much? Like, rightfully so, he gets a lot of scrutiny, but he is as exciting as any player in the NFL, like of which there are quite a few, you know, thinking of Lamar, thinking of Mahomes. Like if I were even casually a Bills fan, like I would probably be all in. Like that's buy a jersey, you know, like the guy's just worth it. So it was fun to see that this like rivalry, if you want to call it that. I don't know if it feels like a rivalry to them, but like it delivers.
Yeah.
I feel like anytime you watch AFC North games and they're like, oh, it's a big matchup, like those games always deliver. Even if it's the Browns, like in their competitive, like it just delivers.
A 3:30 Central kick for a game in Buffalo in the fall or in the winter. You know what I mean? It's just event wise. What's the word I'm looking for? Setting wise, it's so perfect, and it's getting dark. Where I'm watching it in Austin. It's getting dark, and it's perfect. It's a perfect way to go right into Sunday Night Football if that's what you're gonna do, or eat meatballs and then go, I don't know, watch Yellowstone because you're a fucking idiot and you're still committed to the show.
Speaking of meatballs, did you see that Daniel Jones got benched?
I did. It's the
Tommy DeVito.
It's the Tommy DeVito show.
Oh, ay.
We're gonna get Tommy DeVito, Cooper Rush on Thanksgiving.
I forgot who tweeted it, but this is going to save
It's true.
This is going to save the Giants $27 million next year. The guaranteed injury money. I don't know exactly how the contract works out, but it was a strategic timing of benching for sure.
Which his agent, like Daniel Jones's agent, you know, likely have made him aware of, like, if this is going to happen, it's going to happen by this point,
yeah.
blah, 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 blah. And if I'm him, great, I'll take it. Get me the F out of here. I do like that the clip is circulating of whatever intern, or it's probably not an intern, whatever assistant GM or person in their scouting room, whenever they're going to not pay Saquon, like meekly ask the question, are we sure nobody's going to pay Saquon? And everybody's like, fuck out of here. Nobody's going to pay him this money. Wide receivers demanding that money. Shut the fuck up, Clinton, or whatever the guy's name is. And obviously, we saw that turned out. So, like, if there's a front office that deserves to, like, get embarrassed, it's the Cowboys, but then also the Giants on a national stage like Thanksgiving. And it's going to be on all three phases. Cowboys, Giants, halftime show. It's all going to be bad.
Yeah.
No offense, post BBL Laney Wilson.
Okay, I forgot about the Laney Wilson angle. I said MVP.
Turncoat.
MVP moment. Jared Goff. I would be remiss if I did not mention that dude.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
He's still on one, man. Bounce back game from 5 picks.
That dude,
Amon Ra.
the Lions are fucking demolishing people.
That was so ugly. Sorry, KJ. That was so ugly.
Been there. Hey, been there. You know?
52 to whatever, 3 or whatever it was, 6. I don't know, man. I checked it on the game at some point, and it was like 21-6 or some shit. And I told the group chat this, like, hey, it's been a minute. Whenever, like, Will's, like, apologizing in the group chat, I'm like, wait, did he fucking text Evan Brugman? Like, what's he apologizing to me for? And no, come to find out, it's just literally that his BFFs, the Lions, are just completely deep D'ing the Jags on national TV. Like, Doug Peterson should have had to.
Deep D'ing.
Well, how else do you want to describe it? It was not a professional team playing football that I watched.
It's very
It
bad.
was a low light.
Very bad.
We knew it would happen, though. Like, when they lost that first game in London, we looked at the schedule and it's like he could get run out of there with no fault of his own. And then they looked competitive against the Vikings.
They're floating Belichick out there. They're floating Belichick out there.
Okay.
They are.
I guess, man. I guess.
Last thing, NFL Bengals are gonna fucking miss the playoffs, and that sucks. Because I haven't ever I don't think I've watched a Bengals game this season that I wasn't like, this is fucking fun.
That offense is a blast to watch. Jamar Chase is having an all-time season. He's so fucking good.
That they looked really fast on that fucking turf too last night. That turf was like it adds like just a little extra.
Also, T. Higgins is back, and he went the fuck off last night too. And Justin Herbert looks fucking good, by the way. That dude's having a season.
He was great, and then like in the fourth though, like he started missing like when it was finally tied up, he was missing throws. I was like, holy shit, dude, are you gonna do this again? And he made them, and they got the dub. But yeah, you're right. He's very good, but I'm just sad that we're not going to get the Bengals because that is I don't know how sustainable it is. Joe Burrow just going out there and balling all while just getting smoked. 3 or 4 hard hits every possession. It is just something to see. But yeah, Jamar Chase, dude, there's nobody like him.
Freak.
Everything I said about like being a Josh Allen fan, like hypothetically, it'd feel the opposite if you were a Joe Burrow fan. Like you've tasted the joy of like making it to a Super Bowl, and everything else has just been tough. And like expectations continue to be as high as they could every point in the year. They're 3-7 or 3-6, whatever. And we can't do all that and not like acknowledge Jim Harbaugh might just be a good football coach.
I think they're 4.
Throwing that with some names all
4-7.
episode, but like,
hadn't had a bye yet.
jeez.
Yeah, Harbaugh looks good, man.
Nobody expected him to be terrible. Like he's been good everywhere, but it's a great situation.
Oh, Monday night. All my rowdy friends are coming over tonight.
Do we have to?
Do you want to watch
We have
the
to.
Cowboys and the Texans? Yeah, you do, motherfucker.
Is it in Houston?
No.
It's not in Daikon?
At least the sun will be
It's
down.
not in Daikon. What is that company?
I don't know. A Japanese HVAC company. And I won't apologize for anything else that happened in that text after.
Okay. Dude, Minute Maid
But,
Minute Maid's perfect name for your little stadium.
The juice
that was
box.
baseball.
What?
They were Energy or whatever.
Wait, who got what stadium? Time out. Which stadium got?
This is
Oh,
about the Astros. Yeah. Not NRG.
Oh, I thought NRG was becoming.
No, this
I'm
is
sorry,
the
but I
juice
misread
box,
the
man.
news story.
Yeah.
Nobody should be surprised here. That's why I compared it to Giha and to Empower in Denver. My apologies.
Anyway, if you want to see what should be a thorough ass kicking, watch Monday Night Football. I'm hedging. I'm setting this hedge up to my Houston friends. If you don't win this game by double digits, you're trash.
Yeah.
You know, though, as a Cowboys
I know.
fan, you know in your heart, this is the exact kind of game, that for no reason, like you're going to get like a Micah Parsons batted ball interception pick 6. You'll get a Trayvon Diggs like pick on the next series, and they're going to screw around and deliver like a 14-0 lead to the offense. And Cooper Rush is going to manage it to like a 17-15 win.
No.
And you're going to walk into Thanksgiving being like,
no, I'm not.
Well,
they could blow out the Texans tonight. They could go 49-0. And there's no, I promise you, I would not be looking at the path forward. I would not. I will say this. I do expect the Texans offense, granted they're getting Nico Collins tonight, and he's top 5 in the league, in my opinion. I do expect Micah and Overshown to go crazy tonight. I think the Texans offense has been weird, and their O-line has been a little sus. I still believe in CJ Stroud, but I do expect it to be. The Cowboys just aren't. They're not going to score. They may not even cross midfield. They will not get into the red zone. If they get into the red zone, it is because of a turnover or a punt return. That is all I'm saying. They are not good enough. I'm telling you. I believe in Jalen Petrie. I believe in the Texans defense. It is a good defense, and Cooper Rush should not. If the Cowboys score double digits, I will be shocked. And I'm that's on God. That's dead ass, and I'm keeping it creamy with you.
Creamy?
All of that for a team that has historically the worst scoring defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
And you're saying that the offense is the problem. I agree. We are 100%
It's going to be
correct. That's just like an indictment of how bad they are right now.
This is a team's a train wreck, KJ. An absolute train wreck.
As a person who fully understands and sees and watches a train wreck week in, week out that nobody asks me to.
The defense is definitely the offense is definitely worse than the defense.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I'm just saying, like, for some reason, though, the Cowboys also have a terrible defense scoring.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they're bad player to player. And a lot of that's based on, like, Micah being out for some weeks. Like, it's skewed numbers.
It's Monday night, though, so you know Zeke's going to get his touches. He's got to sell, give the kids some hope, sell a couple more Zeke jerseys, going to give him some touches on the goal line. We'll see if he can fumble at the worst time possible again. It'll be a lot of fun tonight. Twitter will be really buzzing. All right, let's run it back.
Of course, that is the segment during which we talk about what we already talked about. R.I.P. Eisenhower's on Rainy Street. Pour one out. Dave took an Italian class outside in college and felt like a dork.
That's really true.
Jaquindon scored a tud against Texas. Shouts Jaquindon. Shouts Duncanville Panthers. KJ got deep D'd. I don't know who put that in there.
The fuck?
The Cowboys might score or might not cross. I totally fucked a lot of this up in here. Might not cross midfield tonight. And finally, Dave kept it creamy with us.
That's why you messed up the one before, because you were too busy keeping up with all
I don't
the
know
shit
what
that
I don't know
came
what the
down.
hell's going on in here anymore. Forgot how to type. Anyway, that concludes Run It Back.
All right. See you next week.
Looking forward to Sean Stiletto. That's DeVito's agent, by the way. Weeks and weeks of him.
I forgot about
That
that,
guy's
dude.
fire.
Bye.
Fire fits tonight. Bye.
Sean Stiletto.
When my team wins a big game, it's good. But when my team doesn't win the big game, you better look out, Buster. I'm a loose cannon. Just not good at all.